welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I am so excited to have the most very beautiful and really truly you inspire me so much. So the wonderful Billie Sharp, welcome back to the show, lovely.
Thanks so much for having me. That's so kind. Thank you.
Oh, I just love it. You're a freaking superhuman. Really, I mean, you run five businesses. You've probably got more now. Um, and just with everything that you do, and obviously we've gotten to know each other, a little bit more over the past sort of 12 months. But before I get carried away, and I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience, and then we're just going to have the most amazing conversation today.
Yeah, thank you. I still only have five businesses. And at this stage, I don't plan to get any more, but I didn't plan to have five to begin with, so who knows? Yeah, so I own five businesses and I also homeschool our daughter. Well, we homeschool together. Um, I think what's really different about me compared to other business owners is that I don't work in all of those businesses. Well, actually, I don't work in most of those businesses day to day. And I really find my happy place in just solving problems and things like that. So I think that's quite an interesting takeaway because people don't realize that. They just always think like, how do you do everything? It's like, well, actually, I don't do everything. I probably don't do a lot on the scheme of things when you write down a list of stuff that I do every day. Especially now. It wasn't always like that. I did used to do everything. But now I'm in a great place where I get to pick and choose the parts of the businesses that I enjoy most. And it's always different and how I'm feeling and what I'm going through at the time as to how I show up and how I present.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the secret sauce just before you say you solve the problems because a lot of people forget that's how a business started, is that we're solving a problem. And I think if people use that and also use their why, they've literally done 12 months worth of their marketing for their whole business.
Yeah, and I think problem solving has always been something that I've enjoyed even as a kid. Just I love problems and I love finding a solution and finding solutions that aren't the normal solution to the problem. That's where I love it so much. It makes my heart happy and being having that ability to be creative and innovative. But also I use a lot of data to make those choices. So having the numbers there, it basically I get to do all of my favorite things in one. And it in doing that, it really helps with growth. And my husband said to me the other day, he's like, I don't know how you do it, but everything you touch turns to gold. And I was like, I don't think that's entirely true. Like I do hear what he's saying, but at the same time, it hasn't always been that way. And I did work for people for a long time, solving their problems, turning all of their things to gold before I actually went out on my own and started turning my own life to gold.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people, especially when we show up in our business, most people see the finished product as such. So they forget that, I mean, everyone says to me, oh, you're an overnight success. I'm like, oh, hey, I've been doing this for like 6, 7 years. This has been hard work in the process. So they forget all of the little things that have happened. And it's not just one little thing. It's to climb a mountain, it's one step at a time, and it's all those steps that lead you to that end goal, which is what most people see.
Yeah, I definitely think that. And even when I look back, sometimes it feels like I was an overnight success, but it's just not true. I took all of my experience in working for other people, and then I've been out on my own now for 6 years. But even when I say like 6 years, when I look at the actual success trajectory, yes, I was becoming more successful each year. But even just 3 years ago, it was still really hard times for me, like emotionally, personally, for our family. My husband was still working full time. It's only really been in the last 3 years where we've grown from one business to five businesses, where he's retired and now is at home with us, where we've started homeschooling. All of that stuff has really happened in the last couple of years. So it's a really amazing shift. And I was going through some old like cards, anniversary cards, and Christmas cards this weekend, and I found a card from my husband, which was dated back the year before I started the business, at my first business. And it basically, I'm not sure what happened. I don't really remember, but in the card, he suggests that it was a really hard year for me. And he said, I want to be there to support you to make all of your dreams come true. And if I'm being completely honest, he pushed me to start that first business. I would have never have started. I was too scared. I knew the work that was going to be involved, and I didn't want to be a failure. I really didn't. And I'd always worked and I always earned money. So it was really hard to give up money in like the what if it didn't work out? What if I didn't make money? So that just that first initial step out on its own was so hard. And I thought once I got through it that it would be easy, but it wasn't. It just kept hitting me with what if this, what every decision, every single time. And even now, after 5 businesses, I'm still facing my own personal issues that I'm like that I have to overcome because I have all of these self blocks that just continually pop up. I think I've worked through it and then pop, here's another one, like, hello, you missed me. So then
Yeah.
working through all of these things, it definitely gets easier, I think, and I can move through them much faster now. But it's still not just this easy, smooth road through. And I think that's what a lot of people seem to forget is they don't see the hard work that's constantly going on in the background, even just with the businesses, but all on the personal development level, the amount of time and hours, energy and effort that I put into my own blocks to keep showing up, to keep pushing forward, to keep leveling up, to be the best version of myself every single day. It is not an easy road. Like it has not been easy. I do think it's amazing, and I love when I break through and I get to feel and be in that level for a while before I keep pushing. But it's just so hard. And I think people really underestimate that side of owning a business or being successful past this small little box of success.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I always say, I think you and I've had this conversation multiple times. Like, if you want to go on the best personal development journey, start a business because you're going to uncover so much stuff about yourself that
Yeah.
you have not wanted to even
No.
acknowledge, or what you even didn't even realize, what was sort of like behind the scenes, that sort of drives us to that point of starting a business. But when you go through it, like you're saying, like everything does, it's just like a more of an ease because you start to learn more about yourself.
Mm.
And I think that's the same with business. You start to learn more about your clients. You start to learn more about what your strengths, what your weaknesses are. All those different things play such a huge factor into your business success as well. I don't think there's just one area that covers success. I think it's such a multitude of different things.
Yeah, I think that's definitely right. And like there's a book, I think it's called I Am Enough. And in that book, she talks a lot about like successful people, especially like celebrities and athletes, professional athletes, about, when I win the gold medal, I'll be enough and I'll feel successful. And the thing is, you get to those achievements, and we all have our own version of a gold medal. Like we've all created that version for ourselves. And the craziest part is when you get there, you genuinely believe like you will feel enough, you will be okay, you'll be content with your life. That is not true. It is just such a fallacy. And the thing is, there's so much other work to be done. You get there and you go, why aren't I happy? And you start to realize that, hey, I have all of this emotional baggage and all of this personal stuff that I haven't worked through because I've been so busy focused on my gold medal that I forgot to take care of me along the way. So
Yeah.
then it's about going back and reworking through that. And then you can start to appreciate your gold medal. You're like, wow, I actually have a gold medal. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of the times, like you and I are very similar in this aspect, is like, it took me a while to sort of understand like celebrating those successes because I'm like, oh, I've done that. Okay, so what's next? And I just kept moving to the next sort of point. And then it wasn't really until I started working with coaches to actually go, no, do you know what I mean? Like celebrate today, celebrate all the tiny little things that have happened because that's leading to the success that you have. And success necessarily does not necessarily equal the amount of money. Success means for me the impact that you're creating, not just in my life, but the ripple effect around the world.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's so interesting when I look back on my corporate career and I look at how much I achieved in such a short time. And I never celebrated any of that. Every single time I got a promotion, every single time I achieved something that I'd really set out for, there was just like, okay, well done, next. Like there was no celebration for
Mm.
those achievements. And I look back now and think, 10 or 15 years worth of hard work, I didn't achieve, like didn't give myself any gratitude for working 80-hour weeks, for putting in all this hard work. Like th that girl worked so bloody hard and
Mm.
was given no thanks from herself, like at all. It was just like, well done, move on.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you celebrate now? You know, do you wait for the big milestones or do you celebrate the tiny little wins?
Yeah, so I used to like have my little goals when I first started out that I would celebrate. And then like we would buy this champagne that we liked, and then we would drink a glass of champagne or a bottle of champagne every time we reached those goals. And that was good. And then what happened was I started moving much faster. I was reaching more goals. And I was like, we're going to become alcoholics if we keep drinking this amount of champagne. Like it was like literally it went from maybe like a bottle every few months to a bottle a month to a bottle a week to a bottle every day. Like it happened so quickly. And so then I was like, we really need to shift what we're celebrating here. So I think in the day to day now, what we do is if something really good has happened, we just take time to be present with, hey, this small thing has been achieved, and it's not actually that small. It's pretty great. And I just sit with my husband and we just talk about it. We just sit with it, hug each other, high five each other, whatever's going on, the team as well, whatever team was involved in that. And then when we have big wins, like recently we signed a contract that's worth over 7 figures a year. And I was like, okay, so how are we going to like celebrate this moment? Because I don't just want to celebrate this moment. I want to remember it and look back on it and really like be able to come back to how I feel in this moment in those tough times. So we actually went and spent the day at like an arcade and just played fun games all day. And then on the way out, I saw this trophy and it was like a loser's trophy of a toilet. So I just bought this trophy of a toilet. And now so now when I see this trophy, I'm going to be reminded. And then I thought to myself when I was walking out with this trophy, it's like it is the loser's trophy, right? But I just thought it was so funny. I thought, how amazing is this going to be in 5 or 10 years from now? I'm going to be standing on a stage and say, I signed this contract, it was worth $1 million a year, and I bought a shit toilet to celebrate.
I love it. I love it. Oh, oh my God. I can I'm gonna use that so much because
Like
like
because the thing is, I really want to be able to take myself back. And I knew like when you have a physical object you can look at all of the time, it does like kind of solidify that memory for you, no matter if you're having a bad day or even if you're having a really good day or you reach that goal. It's like, hey, that signifies where you've come from, right?
yeah.
So I could have bought, they had this huge winners trophy. I could have bought this huge winners trophy, but something was just pulling me to this toilet. And I was like, I need to buy the toilet. I don't know what it is, but I know somewhere in the future it's going to be like, yeah, because it seemed big, but it was so small in the scheme of things.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's more like when you're having a shit day, look at the good things that happen so you can remember.
Trophy.
I know, I love it. I love it so much. Because I think the biggest thing that I've learned, especially over the last couple of months, is we have to have fun. Like I became so serious. I was like, who is this girl? Like, who has become so, I guess, uptight in a way too, because I got so serious in my business, whereas I forgot to have the fun. And then the more fun I have, the more clients, the more impact I'm actually having as well.
Yeah, definitely. And this is where I think people, like when you're working in your business, it's really hard because your business is you and how you show up affects that, right? So is when I'm not working in the business, how I'm feeling day to day isn't impacting those revenue income streams. And it's really interesting because the one business that that does affect is in my coaching business. So where I do like public speaking and business coaching and things like that. And I'm at a point where I don't even need to have that business anymore. So it's really a struggle for me at the moment. Just I love speaking and I don't want to give that up. But like the actual coaching aspect of it, like I even have written down this week, what do I want? Like, how do I want to show up? Do I want to support people one-on-one? Do I even want to do this? And it's been like this now for probably 18 months. And I've stopped taking clients as of last year, only working with my existing clients, just because I don't like being tied down. I don't like having this commitment. Everything else allows me so much flexibility. And if I'm working through personal issues, it affects my clients. It really does. Like it affects how I show up. So I don't want that to affect them. And I don't want it to affect how I'm showing up for myself either. Like I want to be able
Yeah.
to just be sad and just work through everything rather than having to put on a brave face and
Yeah.
stand up there. I think speaking's a little bit different because it's a short time if you're not feeling it that you have to kind of pull yourself out and speak. But I also feel so alive when I'm speaking, and the
Yeah.
feedback from the audience and being able to amplify your impact when you're touching so many people at one time is so gratifying to me. So I think that's another reason I really love the speaking over the coaching aspect. And the thing is, as much as I'm a coach, I'm not a coach that comes in and helps with like all of the emotional side and all the blocks. I'm somebody that's very strategic and do all the systems and processes and things like that. And people come to me, I think, and don't expect that. And I'm like, no, I'm not the coach for you. Like, you need to go and see this person. So I'm even thinking, like, is it just the wording around coaching that I'm not sitting well with? And maybe it's just random one-on-one strategic strategy sessions or something that I will get the most out of. But it's knowing that, it's taking the time to sit and be like, hey, I'm actually not enjoying this. What can I do differently that I am going to enjoy it and that I want to show up every day doing that thing, right?
Yeah.
And if you're in a business and you're not feeling that, there's our body goes through changes and seasons and cycles, and that could be what's going on. But if it's been going on for a while, something's not right. You really need to sit down and be like, okay, do I need to build this business to sell it? Do I need to work out an exit strategy? Do I need to change it? Like, what is going on? What do you actually need to do? And it's really interesting when you aren't in those businesses and they're making income. Even still, if I'm not feeling aligned, I'll be like, okay, do I need to sell that business? Is there something about it that doesn't sit well with me? It's not serving me anymore. And this is how I take on businesses too. It's like, okay, there's an area of my life that I feel like I need to take more on, or I need to start a charity, or I need to build an app, whatever it might be, to fill another void that I'm seeing that I'm like, okay, there's a problem here in the world that I want to fix, and I'm going to fix that problem. So it's every business I've started has come from that. It's not just been about, oh, I want to make money, or I need to do this, or I need to be super successful. Every single one of our businesses has come from a problem that we have seen and we just wanted to solve.
Yeah. I love it. I love it so much because I think, so many people, like when I first started my business, like I mean, you do it all pretty much. And now having the luxury to be able to outsource certain parts of it that don't actually light me up anymore. I don't mind like doing the social media strategy, but to sit down, like, I mean, I got excited today, like I was writing some of the social posts, but I hand that off to my assistant now because I want to make what's the biggest impact that I can make. And me sitting there on a day-to-day doing posts and images is not where the impact is. It's getting on interviewing people, it's getting on sharing the stories, it's getting out and speaking to people. But you, like you're saying, you have to find that. And it's not just going to be an overnight thing. It can take, it's taken me 5 years to sort of work that out. So,
And it's really hard too. Like I have a business where I started my personal brand where I was doing coaching and speaking, and eventually we started doing marketing within that. And then we've spent the last 18 months separating the two. And I'm still in a point right now where it's really difficult because there's some clients that I worked with one-on-one in marketing, but they're not paying my coaching business. They're paying the marketing business, but I'm still stepping in to help them because I feel this, connection to them, or I feel
yeah.
obligated to do that. And it's been really, really hard separating the two things constantly over time, to a point now where the marketing agency has a CEO, it has a COO, like it is a fully fledged thing with multiple staff, multiple employees, like it's its own entity, it's everything. And now like the CEO of the marketing business has just been like to me, you need to make a decision, either stop getting involved because you're making things worse, or be actively involved. So together, we've decided that when people email me about marketing, I'm just going to respond to them saying you need to go talk to the marketing team, or I'm going to let the CEO into my inbox, which is already in there anyway, and just respond saying like, hey, this is Mark, you need to email me.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to let that go because it's what I've known for the last 4 years, and
Mm.
built like everything that we have built in all of these businesses has been us single-handedly doing that. And it's so hard to step away. It's so hard to give that up, relinquish all of that control. Like it's not easy. And I think that's what people are like, oh, it's so easy for you. I'm like, it's not. It's actually really, really hard. I just know that I can't reach my goals personally if I don't let the team do their job. Like I
Yeah.
have to let them do their job.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think finding the right team I mean, I'd love to have you back and we can dive into that because I think that is a whole episode on itself because when you are looking for people, you need to make sure that there's the alignment, there's the passion, the energy, all those different things as well, because like you're saying, it's an extension of you.
Yeah, and I think having so many different businesses and having so many different staff in those businesses, it's so interesting choosing the leaders within that business because now I just see my job as to lead the leaders. Like that is my job
Mm.
now. And it's very interesting having, and they don't always work out. Like I know in the cleaning business, I think we're onto like our third or fourth business manager before we found someone that was like just amazing and totally aligned. She treats the business as if it was her own. Honestly, she works way harder than I ever would for it. um she honestly does. But and it's finding those people that connect, and that people get disheartened when they've got to let someone go and step back in and do it themselves, but that's all a part of it. And that's a part of the learning process. And like just now, my business manager is away and I'm stepping back in this week to help. And I like doing that because it allows me to see anything that I might have missed, things that have changed, problems that she's facing that she might not even realize are problems. And then have a meeting with her when she comes back and say, hey, I found all this stuff. Let's work through it. Let's find ways to do it better. Are you happy with how this is going? How come you didn't bring these things to me? Because it's likely she didn't even see them as problems. She was just getting through the day. So being able to step back into your business at any time and knowing how to do everything in your business, I think is also really important, because it gives you that certainty in yourself that you're not being taken advantage of as well. I see a lot of business owners be taken advantage of, be taken for a ride.
Yeah.
And having that information and knowledge is so much power in your business.
Yeah.
And it'll give you the authority and it gives you the confidence in your ability to be like, no, that's not what I was looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know how much I adore you. I love what you're all about. Like one of my key things is when I align with people is making sure that we're authentic and we shine, just can shine through without the BS pretty much. And that's like literally how I can describe you. And like, I think you're just absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your gifts. Is there anything that you would say to somebody right now that are in the throes of starting their business and they're just questioning? Because I think that the whole thing at the moment, there's this whole turmoil. Like I just see it so much on socials. I'm questioning where I'm at in life. I'm questioning where I'm at in business. What advice would you give it to those people watching today?
I would say question. I think that's great. I think it's really great to question. But you need to block out all the outside noise. I remember when I first started my business, I spent 4 months listening to all of the experts, only to throw out everything I'd learned and listen to myself. So I think it's really important to turn off all of that external noise, sit with your own self, listen to the questions that are coming up for you, and let your intuition, heart, soul, whatever you want to call it, guide you in making those decisions. When it feels right, you'll be like, yes, this is what I need to do. And if it feels wrong, you'll know you'll need to let that go or choose a different path.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I got goosebumps listening to that. So, so true. Well, we're going to drop all the details up. People can reach out to you. Thank you again for sharing your gifts here with us as well, Billie.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you to everyone who has watched this episode. Remember to live life to the fullest every single day. Love and light to you all.